Well, hello, we're live.
Yay.
Hi, John. It's great to see you again. How are you
Hi,
doing?
Angie. This is great. I'm doing just fantastic. Let's do this thing.
Yep, I'm looking forward to this. So,
You like
I'm
my sign?
Angie.
Look, my sign. Look at that. Does it resonate with
Does
you?
it resonate with you? And it's above my head, too. And if you're on YouTube, below me is the subscribe button. So, go ahead and click that button if you'd like to make sure to catch us every week. We'd really appreciate it, by the way.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
Anyway, so this is Does It Resonate with You? This is a new chat show that we've kind of come up with where we talk about all kinds of different things that are within the spiritual world. But we want you to know that just because we say it doesn't mean you have to buy it. If it resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, great. If you want to put something in the comments and, have us bounce it around, we're happy to do that too.
No
So,
suffering. Hmm.
without further ado, I really love this topic, right?
Me too.
Leveraging the energy of certain days, of places, and times. I mean, it's a really, um, I mean, I always knew about the places, right? I always
Yep.
knew about some of the days, but it was when I was working with a client and developing a meditation for her to do
Hmm.
for the end of the year. And the guidance I was given was to tell her to do it on Christmas. And it was because this particular meditation was going to put her in a very vulnerable state, meaning she was working on doing some releasing and cord cutting and things like that,
Hmm.
things we do as energy workers. And so she was going to be vulnerable. So it was going to be really, really nice for her to do it on a day where the energy was peaceful and
That's
where there
good.
was a lot of goodwill in the air. Christmas
Yep.
is like that. Leading up to Christmas, maybe not so much because people are crazy and they're busy and the shopping and all that. But when you if you just step outside on Christmas, there's a peace
Hmm.
in the air that you don't feel all year long. So that
Yeah.
was the whole idea
Yep. Especially this
about.
year, by the way. I
Mhm.
live in the Midwest. We got hit with a blizzard.
Oh
Everything was
yeah,
shut down. It was so nice and quiet. Unreal. It was
it
the best ever.
that there is that about the snow, isn't
Hmm.
there? I mean,
Yep.
that is the one. I'm not a big fan, but there is nothing like that silence,
Yeah.
that silence in the world at the time of really fresh, like large fallen
Yeah.
snow.
Yep.
Although I will say that I saw today, um it went through from one of the weather people on Facebook that today was an anniversary from 19, I think it was 1980. I don't know, 1983, 84, something in that, in the
Hmm.
80s anyway,
Right, right.
where the actual temperature was negative 27 in northern Illinois.
Oh, wow.
That I will never forget it. It was so eerie.
Yep. You go
So
outside and
this,
your teeth crack.
well, and just even to stay inside because nobody, like in the 80s, we didn't have cars like we do now. You could not
Right.
get in your car and drive back then because you're lucky if it would start. You couldn't,
Right,
and if
right.
you went
Everyone's
somewhere,
battery
you
would die in the
couldn't,
cold.
right? You couldn't shut it off. You had to leave it running.
Yeah. Wow. Those are the days.
But there
They were
is.
comparing the blizzard here to the blizzard of 79. That
Oh,
and
I
that was like
remember that blizzard of
I do
79.
too.
I was walking around in stilettos that day, going
I
to a
wasn't.
wedding.
But
I was nuts, but whatever. What
that's
are you gonna
awesome.
do?
I remember my dad shoveling a tunnel to the mailbox. The snow was so high. Anyway, but they were comparing this year to that. Not as
Yeah.
much
So
snow.
so there is, when something happens that puts humanity as a whole in a different place, you can feel it if you pay
Yeah.
attention. That's the
Yep.
whole idea, right?
Yep.
Like if you go out on Christmas Day, you might feel that peace. If you go out on New Year's Day, well, that's or New Year's Eve, let's say. New
Right.
Year's Day is usually pretty quiet out there because people are a little after amateur night, right?
Right.
So, what other days or times a year are
Right.
in your mind?
So, in doing the research for the show, I looked up the Wheel of the Year, and that's kind of like the traditional, maybe call it pagan, times of the year, and it's got the solstices and the equinoxes, and they all have a different name. I didn't know this. I knew a couple of them, but I didn't know all of them. So the one everyone recognizes is the Yule, right? Yule is the winter solstice. It's around December 20 to 23. Um,
Oh,
and
so
then
like Yule log.
right. That's why it's a word everybody knows. So
Oh. I
yeah,
never
so
really put that together that was what it was.
yeah, I didn't
Interesting.
either until I saw it. Like, oh, okay, that's a festival. It's a pagan festival or a pre-Christian festival name that just stuck around. Some of these other ones. This is one of my favorite ones. Okay, so the spring equinox on my chart. I don't know if I can share. I can't share a screen here. Can I?
I'm not really sure,
Okay, forget it.
but I will
Everybody,
work
go
on
look
that
up the
while
wheel.
you talk.
Okay, the wheel of the year. I've got a little JPEG here in front of me. So the spring equinox, the name of it is Ostara, Ostara.
Oh, isn't
And
that
guess
beautiful?
guess what that word became in the Christian era?
Easter.
Easter. Yeah.
Easter.
Easter comes from the traditional pagan festival name. I know.
You're
And the
gonna
cool.
get a shutdown, John.
I know. Hey, you got to be a little edgy, right? It's got to be just a little
I
edgy.
agree. I 100% agree.
Um, then let's see. So the summer solstice, I believe, is pronounced Litha. It's around June 20, 19, 20, 21, something like that. Pronounced Litha. And then the fall equinox is pronounced or is spelled Mabon, Mabon. And then there's ones in between each of them. The word I know I'm very familiar with is Samhain, Samhin.
Which I think is actually pronounced Sowen,
Oh goodness.
if
Okay,
I remember
you're you're
correctly.
probably right. I think these are
Aren't they
yeah
Gaelic? Aren't they
yeah
are they
that's what I
Gaelic?
think they are. I think they're Gaelic. So I do not speak Gaelic, much as I'd
Me
like to.
either.
But anyway, there's a kind of a time of year. 1st of February is one, 1st of May, 1st of August, 1st of September. Or sorry, 1st of November. So those are kind of the halfway points between um, the equinoxes and the solstices. So people that follow the traditional solar um, yeah year use those names. And I think this is fascinating. I'm actually going to mark these in my calendar now so I know what they are and what they're called.
Sounds like more days of the year to really try and leverage, right? Like
Right.
I feel a program coming on.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
know, some kind of I mean, because I'm all about going inside, right? Creating that space inside and connecting to that energy that is surrounding. So,
Yeah.
as an energy worker, as an energy, a meditation or whatever you want to call me. Like, is it meditation? Is it voyages?
Hmm.
Is it journeys? Whatever. Different people look at that in different ways. Um, but I love doing energy meditations on those particular days.
Right.
So
Right.
I see I think those kind of energies could impact the information we get from the oracle, information we get from
Mm.
tarot in the way
Hmm.
that we connect to it, in the way that we connect to our guides, teachers, and angels, and then also with the guides, teachers, and angels of the people that we're reading for.
Right.
Um, there's I'm not sure I buy the one about the spring equinox where they say you can put the egg and it'll stand on its end, but there are things like that too.
Right.
Um, but yeah, like
Then that's
it,
the whole solar system. Then we've got the whole lunar system too, right? So your full moons, your new moons. I pulled up the Farmer's Almanac. Where is that here?
so real quick, we have a question. Sam Hain or Sowen is also Halloween, is it not? I don't think so. Is it?
So it's okay. So it's November 1.
Oh, so it's
So it is. That's
all
right.
so
That's right. That's right.
wait a
It's
minute.
right.
So is
Yeah.
that All Hallows Eve,
Yes.
right?
You're
Halloween,
right. Yep.
Hallows Eve.
Yep.
So is that
So
so Halloween is the eve of Samhain? Or
yes,
I'm gonna
you're
go ahead and
you're
listen
you're
to
right.
it. Just
You're absolutely right about that.
so yeah, that came from one of our listeners.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for reminding me of that because I remember hearing that quite a bit around that time of year, and then I was like, oh, that's cool. But thank you for that reminder. That's awesome.
Samhain.
Samhain. Okay. You know what? I'm feeling like I need to learn some Gaelic.
I think so too. I mean, why not? Let's hey, I mean, I've done meditations and taken people to Valhalla, so what the heck? Let's go hang out in Stonehenge for a little while or something.
Oh man, these places. You want to talk about lunar stuff now, or you want to talk about places?
Whatever works for you. You have
Well,
it pulled
so
up, so
yeah, I got
whatever.
it pulled up. So the other set of cycles that we follow are lunar cycles. I mean, everyone says if you're gonna clear your tarot cards, you want to set them out on a full moon. Well, when is the full moon? We had one. Let's see, the 6th of January, and let's see, when is the next one? I have to find February now. Where is it here?
Oh.
There we go. All right, the February full moon will be. Oh, of course, it's 28 days uh, it'll be Friday. Oh, it's still February. Anyway, we'll have to go back and find that. It's coming up in a couple weeks. On
So
tomorrow we have
February 5th.
thank you.
And let's see. So we've got a super new moon on January 21st. The February 5th new full moon is a micro full moon, which
Right,
just means it's not a super moon,
right.
basically.
And just for anyone who's curious about that, because the moon is an elliptical pattern around the Earth, when it's furthest away, that's called a micro, and when it's closest to the Earth, that's the super.
And so February 5th, the full moon on February 5th is also called the snow moon, which those names are given, I think, mostly because of what the weather looks like during
Right.
the time, right?
Well, the
Like,
January one is the wolf moon.
yeah, that one was pretty powerful, actually. I'm way back when I was really big about getting all my crystals out in the moon and getting my cards out in the moon and what have you. And it is amazing. And
Hmm.
I love to drink moon water. But
I've never done
lugging
that.
all these crystals out,
Well, when you have 300 of them, Angie,
yeah, well,
that's
yeah. I don't have too many. No, I don't know.
well, there is no too many.
Right? No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, right. And actually, not even all of them are. Some of my better ones actually are at my healing space. I might need to switch that around. Anyway, there are some schools of thought that you can leverage, right, the energy of the moon, different phases of the moon to accomplish different things, like
Mm,
like setting intentions for the new moon and releasing at the full moon and clearing. Do
yes,
you remember that? Clearing
yes,
clutter on the
yep. A friend of mine gave me a sheet right at kind of the beginning of my woo journey,
mhm.
and the sheet was like on a new moon, right before a new moon. That's when that's a good time to clean your room, clean up stuff, get to release, get rid of stuff.
Right.
And the sheet was like really clear on the different things that. And actually, when I was looking back on like the previous months, I thought, you know what? Somehow I was already doing that, not even knowing it. But you feel like, hey, this place needs to be cleaned up, and it just so happens
That
that
it was on that
right,
day.
right, that energy happens at that time. I was like, no way, this is so cool.
So I see here, and it's on www.holistictreats.net. Just in case, because I'm referencing their words. They say make the most of the moon phases at the time of the conjunction. The new moon is to start something, set
Hmm. Yep,
intentions. Waxing gibbish, push ahead. So work on your stuff, right? Full moon, reach a milestone. Waning moon, do the aftermath and start clearing to make room for the next
that's
moon
it.
cycle.
That's it.
So you've got new moon, waxing, full moon, waning,
Hmm.
and then the whole cycle like starts again.
Yep.
Which really, if because at a later time, on another episode, we're going to talk about patterns and positive patterns, negative patterns, and
Right.
putting
Right.
together patterns in our lives. That would be a really great pattern to start to follow, because it's like weekly
Yeah.
almost, give or
Yeah.
take, right?
Roughly weekly. You're right. Right.
Roughly weekly. I think there is actually 13. Didn't we discover that in the Friday
Yeah.
the 13th?
Right.
13 moon cycles in a year, but
Right.
that just means you get an extra full moon. Who doesn't love that?
Right.
Um, but yeah, that would be a really great pattern to create in your life. Like, just sort of set up your schedule, or somebody could create a planner for
There.
to
There
help
is. There's
people. Yeah.
Moonology. I forget her name.
Oh
Hang
yeah,
on.
Yasmin Boland.
Yeah. 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 Yep. She has a
Yeah.
planner specifically around that.
Yep. Yeah, actually.
Mm.
I'm not real great with planners, to be honest with you.
No,
I don't
I'm.
have a very big attention span. So this is my gig, right? Like, if you want to do trauma work, I can send you to somebody. If you want to do shadow work, I know who to tell you to go to.
Mhm.
If you want to have some fun and decompress after you do all that work, I'm your person. I'm the one you want to come to, right? Like,
That's cool.
that's what's fun for me.
Right.
And you need those things. You can't do all that hard work all the time without some downtime.
Right.
So, anyway, I don't think we can talk about the moon phases without talking about the whole people are crazy on the full moon thing.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I was going to bring that up. So my neighbor works in 911. She works on the phone bank on 911, and we were just talking one time, and we weren't even in a woo-woo topic, but she goes, "You could just I just don't know. I can't explain it, but every time there's a full moon, we get like twice as many 911 calls on those nights." I'm like,
Isn't that something?
yeah, isn't that cool? That's like, well, maybe not cool, but that is really interesting. Why does it
Well,
happen?
and I don't know. I was a bartender and worked in restaurants for a very long time in my younger days, and there were times where people would get like cuckoo, and somebody would go, "Oh man, it must be a full moon." And back then we didn't really have Google.
Right? That's right.
So the way you knew there was a full moon, it got dark out and you looked up in the sky, right? Like, that's, you know,
Wow, that's tough.
revolutionary,
That's tough. That's a concept.
right? That's kind of like I walked, trudged 3 miles through the snow to and from school every day uphill,
Uphill, yeah.
but I mean, it's the truth. We went outside and you saw it. You could
Right.
see it. It was a full moon. So, and there was something to that. Like, and I'm sure that you could look up the moon phases like in the Farmer's Almanac,
Yep.
right? We all had those books back then. And so I remember hearing from like ER people
Hmm.
that the full moons were interesting. More babies are born too. More drunks are brought in.
Yep.
Yeah.
I
Well,
have a nice app on my phone called Daft Moon, and it's like a whole moon phases app, and so it has a little kind of a screen or a little icon that changes with the phase of the moon. So it's kind of nice to always have that in front of me.
oh, there you go. My husband um just fell in love with a moon phase pocket watch.
Oh, cool.
So
Like
so
a mechanical one.
yeah, like, yeah, an analog, right?
Oh,
Like
sweet.
old school, wind it up and it
Oh, cool.
has the
I bet
moon
you that's
phase.
got great energy around it.
It does actually. Why not? Now, interestingly enough, my father could only wear a wind up watch. He was an electrician. I never realized my connection to energy when I was younger. Like, but it
Hmm.
is apparent. Um, it is apparent to me now that I've been messing around with energy and my family probably for a very long time. But my father, when they came out with um kinetic or with battery watches, he'd
Yeah.
kill them. Like, he'd put them on and they would last like maybe a week and they would just go kaput. So he
Wow.
always had to have a wind up watch, and he chalked it up to being an electrician, but I'm not so sure that's
Yeah.
the case. I'm not
Wow.
so
That's
sure
that's a
that's the
cool
case.
story.
Yeah, right? Like,
That's really
it's
cool.
funny how those little things, come into your memory and you're like,
Yeah.
"Hmm,
Hmm. Thinking back.
hmm." So one day when we talk about, divination tools and things like that, I'll tell you the story about the Ouija board, but
Okay. Oh
we'll
man.
move on
All
for
right.
now,
Put that on our list.
right? So I do, I've done, back before COVID, when I could do a lot of live things and I had a bigger space. I brought people in to do, crystal energy meditations, and we
Hmm.
would use the energy of the full moon, use the energy of the new moon, which is really interesting because one of the things that we always did on the new moon was to visualize, because the new moon is just the dark side of the moon, right?
Right. Right. Or the moon's in shadow, basically.
Right. It's the dark side of the moon.
Okay.
Hey,
Scientists here coming out.
I'm a Pink Floyd person, so it's the
Okay.
dark side
Well,
of the moon.
that's a whole nother show. That is a whole nother show. We could do a
So,
whole show just on that.
it's light on one side, it's dark on the other. Shadow, dark, it's all the
Fair
same
enough.
thing.
Okay.
But anyway, it also kind of looks like a chalkboard. So you visualize in the meditation your intention. You set your intention by literally visualizing yourself writing it on the backside of the moon,
I remember.
so that
Yes.
when you do the when you do the meditation for the full moon, the energy of your intention is broadcast to you through the light of the moon. Like it's
I think I attended one of your sessions where you did that, and
oh
that
yeah,
was
wasn't that like manifesting with the moon or something? That was one of
yeah,
those things
yes,
that
that
we
was
did.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you led us through this meditation. It was the best. I remember that very well. Yep.
So, wow, yeah. So, I mean, it's if you're open, right? Just take what resonates with you. Does it
Hmm.
resonate with you? If you're open to it, there's so many possibilities. Things don't have to be written in stone, right? Like
Hmm.
for you,
Right.
it's the shadow side. For me, it's the dark side. Does it
Yep.
matter? It's the same thing. No, I mean seriously, right? Like it's the same thing. It does.
Right.
Do I have to be right? No. Do you have to be right? No. But you're right for yourself, just like I'm right for myself. That's
That's
it.
why we're here. That's exactly what this is
Although
all
I
about.
don't really know who's all over these halo lights for live streaming, but I'm
Oh,
not in love with them. I gotta tell you. Wait, here, this will be better.
oh yeah.
Oh, there we go. Anyway, those are a bit much, but I don't know, maybe a pair with the, like a gradient,
You're right.
you know.
I got some. No, and I digress. I'll get my shades next time.
Yeah, there you go. Anyway, so yeah, what else? I mean, it's really interesting, you always have known since you were a little kid about the full moon,
Hmm.
right? But
Yep.
when did the new moon first come into your awareness? Like the idea of using the energy of the new moon. Like like when I was a kid, full moon meant people were cuckoo,
Right.
right?
But that's the only thing we paid attention to.
Right? Right. That was the only thing. So
Right.
was it when you stepped your toe into the woo-woo journey?
I think so. Yeah. Actually, that
Probably,
sheet
right?
that my friend Dawn gave me, I think that was one of the big eye-opening. Like, oh wow, each of these phases have kind of intention behind them, and because of the way imprints work in the field of energy, the
Mhm.
more people do it, the more it becomes a thing. So that anyway, that was kind of the first toe in the water there. I think it's probably about 5 years ago now. But it's been in my consciousness ever since. And when I find myself cleaning up the room, it's like, "Well, go check the phase. Yep, that's why.
Right? Right? Isn't that something? Wow. Yeah, I want to say that for me it's the same. I mean, I'm sure I heard the phases. I love the idea of the waxing and waning moon.
Hmm.
So I always knew I knew what that meant, waxing and waning. I knew waning, going away,
Right.
waxing
Yep.
and coming back.
Increasing.
Um, but but I still to this day don't know the direction it does that.
Right. That's the gibbous. And what's the opposite of gibbous? There's a term. Hang on. Time to Google again.
It's crescent, isn't it?
Crescent. Well, no, crescent is the shape.
I think.
Opposite of gibbous moon. So there's waning gibbous. Oh, maybe you're right. Is gibbous the opposite of crescent? All right, a gibbous moon is any time more than half of the moon is lit by the sun. You're right. You're right. So the crescent, I stand corrected. I stand corrected.
And I kept my mouth shut the whole time. That was amazing.
That's funny.
The,
Okay, but hey, you know what? Now that I know what the
way it
opposite,
goes.
I know what the opposite is. So now I know what gibbous means.
Well, there
Thank
you go.
Thank you, Angie.
Well, you're welcome. But like, can you look at it and know which one it is? Like, let's say it's a quarter moon. Do you know which one it is? Like, can you just look at it and know that?
No,
The
I
only way
mean,
I can do that is if I really have in my awareness, was it full or was it
right, based on
new,
its past.
like,
Yep.
so because if you just had the new moon, then it's waxing, and if you
Right.
just had the full moon, it's waning.
It's
But
waning.
I still, and there are people that are all over that.
Oh, I know. I know.
But just because we don't know that, do you think it means we can't leverage that energy?
No, I think the energy's there whether you tap into it or not.
There you
Um,
I agree.
yeah.
I agree. I definitely agree. So wow. Well, we have a lot to explore with the moon, I think. I think we
Interestingly, tomorrow is Chinese New Year, and Chinese New Year always lands on a new moon. It is a lunar holiday.
oh wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, isn't that cool?
I heard that this morning. What is it, the year of the rabbit?
Rabbit. It's the year of the rabbit.
Interesting. I've always wanted to sort of delve into that a little bit further. Like
The Chinese astrology.
the Chinese astrology and the Chinese, the Chinese
The zodiac.
rituals and zodiac and, sort of their lunar calendar, that calendar and how that works. Eastern medicine fascinates me. The idea of actually working within people's bodies and,
Yeah. Here's something interesting. So when you go to the restaurant, the Chinese restaurant, and they have that placemat with all the 12 different animals of the Chinese zodiac, right? When you read which animal you are, and when it says you will get along well with the, and then a different animal, but you won't get along well with the, and one of the animals, the ones you always get along well with are 3 away from where you are. So if you look, yes. And the ones that are not, that you don't get along well with, are right next to you. So they have to be at least 3 away from you. So look at it sometime and look at the ones that are, I can't, I won't even try to attempt to figure which ones, but whatever you are, whatever you get along well with, look where they are on that chart of 12, and you'll see they're at least 3 out from where you are.
Well, here's something interesting. I'm the rabbit.
So I can guess your age. It's a multiple of 12.
Well, I mean, if you can actually guess it, then you'd be ahead of the game with me, because I don't usually always know it. I mean, I'm close, but I don't always have it like right. I don't always have it actually correct. So
Right.
I mean, you could give it a shot, but if you go over 70, I'm out. No.
Well, if you're a rabbit and this is your year, you would have to be 60. It has to be a multiple of 12.
No.
You're not 48.
It can't. No, that's not right. I think you need to rethink your method there, I think.
Okay.
I just Googled and I can see my year in the year of the rabbit. So, but it's not a multiple of 12.
Huh.
So okay. I'm not really sure how that, see, 47.
Well,
but you don't know where you're starting from, so you can't really. No, I don't think that works. I think your plan is flawed.
Okay. I do
I
know
think
that
your
the
plan is
your
flawed.
year your year comes back every 12 years because
But
there's
if
12
if
animals.
I told you how old I was, you could figure out what year I was born
Yeah,
by going back 12,
I'll
right?
go with
Like,
that.
but yeah, but it can't always be a multiple of 12 because nobody is always a multiple of 12.
No, but your year comes back every 12 years.
Right.
Yeah. So your year, if
Huh.
you're, yeah,
Yeah, really interesting. So what is that now?
right. There's 12 animals, and so when you're 0, and when you're 12,
Yeah, right.
when you're
So
24,
so then maybe, well, I don't know. Maybe it's not doing, maybe this thing ain't, oh, look at this. Now I'm seeing a freaking chart that doesn't actually have my birth year on it.
due to a strange quirk, they left 1 year out of
No,
the zodiac.
I don't think it, I actually don't think what they're telling me is right. Let's see. Well, I don't want to spend, okay, so the mouse is 1960. So how to, okay, 60. So it's going up. Now I got to find the crazy.
While you're talking, I got a story about that.
Go ahead.
So, about, let's say maybe 10 years ago, I was in a bookstore. I think it was in a bookstore in New York City one time, and they had a Chinese astrology book of the Chinese zodiac. And the book was literally this thick. It was like 400 pages.
I'm
And
out.
but it was a reference book.
Oh, okay.
And it was like, first they had not only the year you were born, but also the time and the month and the day and the moon phase of when you were born. And then they had, if you are a rabbit and your spouse is a dog, how are you going to interact? What's going to work? What's not going to work? And then they had a whole section on like work relations. If your boss is a snake and you are, right, this book was just amazing. I
I
was
know.
like,
I just, the idea is if your boss is a snake, like,
yeah, I
you
know.
got me with
I
that one.
Yeah, I had one of
I've
those
had a
too.
few of those.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm the year of the pig. So I don't
Okay.
know I don't know what was happening there with what came up, but I'm the year of the pig. But
Okay. So
according
then you
to
are not
that,
60.
I'm most compatible with the rabbit, the goat, and the tiger. So maybe it came up that way because
Probably.
I'm
Yep.
compatible with the rabbit.
Yep. For anyone who's curious, I'm a sheep. So
Well, there you go. And
yeah.
actually, my husband is a dog.
Okay.
Oh, sensitive, stubborn. Yeah, he's not emotional, but he sure is freaking stubborn.
This Chinese astrology. I so wish I would have bought that book because now I'm thinking like, what was that book? I'm sure I could find or one like it, but it had every different kind of relationship that you could be in with other people, and then how you are and how they would be based on those 12-year signs. And so,
So, uh, just to stretch that just a little bit, those that advice, we'll call it
right,
advice.
right, right.
If you're not aware of it, how much do you think it impacts you? Like, in other words, if you read it, how much of it do you think is a self-fulfilling?
Well, so I think under the one of the characteristics of the sheep is creativity, and I would say I'm, if I do say so myself, I'm off the charts in terms of creativity,
No, no,
music,
for
art.
yourself, I get, but I'm
Yeah.
talking about the relationships with other
Hmm.
people. Like,
Yeah.
if I look at
Huh.
that, they might say that I'm not compatible with my husband, which couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
So,
So if I think part of it's self-fulfilling, and I also partially think that the energy where people are really not all believing, but all kind of know about it, even if it's just in the back of their minds, affects how some of those relationships might happen. So I don't want to say it's 100% self-fulfilling, but I do think that the more people that are in a particular culture, the more the norms and astrologies of particular cultures affect that culture.
I think you're right about that. I agree with you on that.
You know,
Interesting.
yeah. It's funny to read a description of yourself from the Chinese system and a description of yourself from Western astrology, which is of course based on the time and date of birth and what planets are around. So my point is that some things are not going to be 100% completely accurate description from the surface on either one. But as you go deeper and see how people react in certain situations, yeah, I guess that is true. So,
Yeah. No, that's that. So, and it's we're getting close. We're time for a shameless plug anyway. But
all
I
right.
I I have a friend who is an astrologer, and we work together.
Yeah.
And so that was one of my things for this year was I wanted to look at my astrology and leverage it, figure out how to leverage it rather than just, kind of working against it or whatever. And so it was really kind of interesting when she put together my birth chart and what I forget what she calls it, but it's basically like personality aspects
Okay.
and how spot on, a lot of it was. And I was like,
Yeah.
now, for me, you look at that, and a lot of people think, "Oh, well, that's just an excuse to act the way that I do," right?
Right.
And I really had to look at it because I have some I have some good traits, but I have some disagreeable or dissonant traits, and so I took that as an opportunity to look at those dissonant traits, and really
Hmm.
try to work on it. I
Hmm.
am a bull in a china shop. I admit that. I've always been a bull in a china shop. I tell the truth, like what the truth means to me. I
Hmm.
can't walk in through the outdoor. All those things were actually in my chart. Like I
Oh,
literally
cool.
can't walk in through the outdoor. Like if how do you want to keep Angie from getting inside? Put exit on both doors. I won't go in.
No way.
That's the
So,
truth. Like
wow, that's
I
cool.
I I will not, and PS, do not try to walk in through the outdoor if I'm on my way out because I'm not moving. Not moving. Anyway,
I'll bail you out when that happens.
yeah. No, I no I no, they move. People move.
Okay.
I can make people in their cars move away from me. I can make people move. They don't.
That it's that powerful energy.
Yeah, right. I put a burst out there and they just sort of go, "Oh, okay, let's just let her go through." Okay. All right. Um anyway, so shameless plug as you can see going by on the bottom of the screen there. So this is the time in the show that we're going to take a couple of minutes to tell you what we're up to, what we're doing, and tell you where else you can find us, what else we're doing. So, John, why don't you go ahead and go first? Because I was pretty excited to hear that you actually have a website for your book.
Yeah. So being the tarot geek, where I go when I'm working on a project is the website comes pretty early in a project. So I have a book coming out in probably 2 months, roughly, and the website for the book is called The Woo Woo Book, and the website is woowoobook.com. So WOOWOOBOOK.com. Woowoobook.com. And there you can see there's a video there, kind of what the book's about. There's a mock-up of the book. You can pre-order the book. I also have a set of oracle cards that go along with the book. So you can order those, pre-order the book, and you can find out about the book. And if you do nothing else, get on the list so that when the book is ready to be published, I will announce it to the list, and I can stay in touch with you. So woowoobook.com. I'm absolutely thrilled about the book. Real briefly, the book is about how different parts of society are kind of not in agreement with woo woo, with this whole spiritual aspect of life, and how they're actually wrong is the wrong word, but so science takes a pretty hard stance against woo, right? And I go through parts of the book show how there are actually scientists that are all in on woo woo and are really. showing that things like ESP and auras and stuff actually exist. So it's actually scientifically proven. So look at the video, check out the website, and send me a message. I'm thrilled. You will know when the book is going to be published because I will tell you.
Excellent. That's so cool. Like
Thank you.
I know that you were working on it, and I'm really glad to see that you've got, you've got sort of the end in sight, right? You got your
Yep.
sights on the end,
Yep.
On the exit, so to speak. So that's excellent. So I put the address in the comments.
Cool.
And then we'll also, well, I mean, I guess that's it, right? I put it in the comments.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to do with it. Like,
no, but when the book's about to be published, like when I have an actual date, I will announce the launch day on our show, and you will all buy my book.
all right then. Well, we got one person listening, so at this moment, and we appreciate that listener. P.S.
Mm-hmm.
She there are elements that go along with the Chinese. I'm going to have to look into that. That's something we need to look into for later. Elements and the Chinese zodiac.
Yes, let me tell you. In the Western system,
it's not time yet for that. I want my plug.
Please.
My turn. Says shameless plug. But anyway, I should have left that for a second. But
we'll get back to it.
We'll get back to it. Okay. So there's a couple of things. The first thing is on Sunday, there's still time to sign up for the train ride with Matthew. You can find that on the events tab on Lasting Serenity, the Lasting Serenity Facebook page, Facebook at Lasting Serenity. That's this Sunday coming up. And then on Sunday the 12th, John and I will be doing this really cool new, like, connect you with loved ones from the other side type of, I mean, it's a seance, come card reading, come oracle reading, come tarot reading, like mediumship session, group session. Like it's really, really cool. We're really excited about what we've conceptualized for you here.
Mm-hmm.
And as a way of, first of all, taking you to a place through meditation that you can create where you can connect with your loved ones from the other side, all by yourself without even needing us, for moving forward.
Yep, this is going to be really cool. You're going to learn a lot.
It's really going to be cool. And then through that, we'll be drawing cards. I'll be drawing cards that are called significators that will tell you who it is that we've connected to. It'll be up to you to kind of figure that out. And then John will be drawing cards, tarot, oracle, whatever he is drawn to bring you messages of love from the other side. So I'm really excited about that one. That one's not quite listed yet, so pay attention. Keep checking the events tab at Lasting Serenity on the Facebook page. And then also that same week, I've got with Lisa Hagenbuck, the astrologer, who you will meet on an episode of this show.
Yep.
We are doing another version of astrology and Akasha. So she's an astrologer. I'm an Akashic record reader. And we're calling it's Astrology and Akasha, the relationship edition. So what we're doing is we're going to give you your chart. We're going to give you your aspects. We're going to give you your indicators, relationship indicators. I'm going to give you an Akashic record energy archetype and an Akashic archetype, and then also an issue list of things that you can clear to help you manifest relationships that are in your highest good and in alignment with what you want for your life. So that is actually already listed on the Facebook page at Lasting Serenity. I think that's it. That's Wednesday, February 15th. So it's the day after we figured, anybody who's disappointed with their relationships might want to come on February 15th. I like to throw those little barbs in there every now and then.
Poke, poke.
Anyway, so that is it for my shameless plug, except for, next Friday again. Does it resonate with you? We'll be back.
Yes.
This is so fun. I just love this. I love it so much.
Me too.
Okay, there we go. All right. That thus is the end of the shameless plug. Now you can go back to, wow, we're not really even going to get to what's the other. We got moon phase, the place.
Right. We were talking about time and places with
Yeah, right. So
leveraging energy of
I think
places.
maybe we'll talk about the places in another episode because
Okay.
we have 15 minutes left. So
All
let's
right.
talk about the
Elements.
let's talk about the elements. It's the combination of the elements with the Chinese zodiac. Is that
No, it's
well?
it's
She
kind of
said
like,
she's fire monkey. She's a fire
okay,
monkey.
right. So the Chinese elements, there's 5 of them. The Western elements has the 4, right? The fire, um, water, earth, and air, right? Those are our 4 Western elements. The Chinese elements, there's 5 of them. It's water, wood, fire, earth, and metal. And so when you
Okay.
figure out based on like which part of the year, and there's some other astrological pieces of it, but if she said a fire monkey, that's in the monkey year, and then I believe it's the day or the moon. I forget how it's assigned. I think it's which part of the year actually, that assigns which element. So fire monkey, earth sheep, water dragon. So those elements give a little bit more depth to the astrological symbol from the Chinese side. It's the similar to say, what's your rising sign in your astrological chart?
Okay, got you. All right. That makes sense. Oh yeah, look. Earthly branches, heavenly stems, yin and yang, Shi
Yeah.
Chen, 5 elements. Well, according to this one I'm reading, actually monkey is metal, but I'm just on a web page, so don't shoot me. But according to this, I'm water. The pig is water, which is interesting to me because I'm a Libra, which is an air sign, and I really believe that air and water go together very
Hmm.
well. You know,
Okay.
like I think fire and water would be
Opposing.
dissonant, right?
Yep.
Opposing. So,
I think we're going to have to do a whole episode just on the Chinese zodiac, and that'll prompt me to get that book to do some research.
yeah, well, we'll see about that because that's a lot of research to do. So I don't know about a whole episode. That's a lot
Okay.
of
Well,
research.
maybe on our astrology episode we can have a little diversion to.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yep.
absolutely. So we are going to have Lisa as a guest on the astrology. So she might actually have some information as well to share on the
True. Yeah.
Chinese zodiac. So, um, yeah, it's really fascinating how spot on some of these things, really are.
Hmm.
Like when
Yep.
you come looking at it. When you look at because for many years all I knew was I was a Libra, right?
Right. Yep. Me, I'm a Sagittarius.
And balance. Like I am all about balance, don't get me wrong. But that was all it really meant to me,
Hmm.
right? Like I didn't, I didn't look at and in fact somebody brought to my attention the idea of like I'm an air sign, and then my husband is um a Virgo,
Hmm.
so he is an earth sign. So earth and air actually are pretty compatible,
Hmm.
like in my mind. Like I
Right.
think that works together. So I don't know if that's represented, in the teachings of astrology or not, but I think we can
Yeah,
always bring our own
intuition.
intuition into the situation. Like
Yep.
I'm trying
I
to do more than one thing at a time in case you haven't noticed, and I'm not doing a very good job of it, so I apologize.
So I let me put in a little plug for an app that I just got. Actually, it was late last year, but the astrology app is the Time Passages. So if you're interested in learning astrology and you want to have the tools to do it, they have both a desktop version and a smartphone version. So both iPhone and Android. And every once in a while I go in there and I, look at today's astrology reading. You can do readings for other people. Um, the problem is when I do in someone's chart, I've absolutely no idea what I'm looking at. So I'm also trying to learn, you know, kind of the basics of astrology. I
Good luck with
there's a
that.
thanks. It's the lingo. It's the language that you know, when I guess tarot has its own lingo too, right? The tower, the devil, um, the lovers,
Oh
right?
yeah,
So
that whole framework. I'm really happy that there are people out there that want to learn all that. I don't,
yeah, yeah,
but I'm glad there are people that do.
right.
So
Well, when I
so
try to
so,
when I
so
try to get in,
the commenter is saying that the elements in the Chinese astrology is based on birth year. So that would make sense. Then
okay,
the pig is what it is, right? So water. Anyway, so I'm sorry, what was the name of that app again?
time passages. So they have the desktop version and they have the smartphone version. I think the smartphone version is a subscription, and the desktop you just buy it once. But um, it's
I don't
very
put anything on my smartphone. Just
no apps.
no, not
Oh,
really. I
that's
don't
why
like them on my phone.
I have like 300 apps. I should
No.
probably clean mine off. So
No, I don't put stuff on my phone because first of all, it's too small.
there's that.
The screen, like
iPhones are getting bigger and bigger.
because people are getting older and older. What?
Now the people making the phones are getting older and older.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
The
I,
designers have been at it for 20 years, and
I,
when they started
actually,
out, they
I heard that kids these days are really looking into flip phones. They're going back.
yeah, but that's a fad. At the end of the day,
I dig a flip phone. Sorry, I want to call someone. That's it. Although I do enjoy texting,
I do
but
too. Yep,
anyway, we digress.
we
See,
digress. Yes,
this is the joy and the power of having your own talk show. You can talk about whatever you want,
right.
but we
And
should
one,
try to keep it engaging for the people. So we've actually identified in this conversation quite a few topics for shows in the future.
and if one of these topics resonates with you, please let us know by a comment, and we'll focus on that topic in a future episode.
Right. And if you are an expert, please let us know because we'd love to have you join us.
Yeah. The having expert interviews coming up is something I'm really looking forward to, because there's so many really, really, really smart people out there. Um, that well, I mean, Angie, of course. My
Here's
point
me.
is having
This is
experts on
me.
is going to be great.
Like it's a great thing to reach for. It's a great thing to reach for. And it depends on what they've got to say.
True, right?
Well,
And
actually, it really depends on how much they want to sit with.
and it matters how much it resonates with us.
Truth. But there are quite a few that I would be very excited to sit and have a chat with Radley Valentine.
Yep.
I would love to sit and have a chat with Mooney. I would love to sit and have a chat with Lisa Williams,
Oh man, that would be amazing.
Kyle
Teresa.
Gray,
Oh, Teresa
Google
Reed.
Fraser. There's a couple of deck writers,
Chris Ann. I'd
Alana
like to have
Fairchild.
Chris Ann would be great.
Yeah, there's quite a few.
Speaking
There's
of which,
quite
we
a
need to
few.
pull our card for the day.
Oh yeah,
for
we
the
should do
show.
that because it's almost time to sign off.
Yep.
All right, the card for the day.
All right.
So, general, this is the one and only time that I'll let you go for what do people need to know.
All right.
So,
So
what is the energy presenting for the day for the week moving forward?
I'm turning my background off so you can actually see the card. And here
Oh,
is the card I've pulled.
that's always
All
good.
right. This is, by the way, this is from Radley Valentine's Sword of Light Oracle.
Oh,
So
my
I've got the,
favorite deck.
yep.
Plug for Radley Valentine. If you don't have this deck and you love decks, you want this deck.
Okay. So this card is card number 21. It is open up to your spiritual gifts. And here's what he says in the card. Remember that your true nature is spiritual, not physical. Amen to that. The angels are sending you messages to guide your soul's growth. So that's the whole point of this show, is to help you find out what resonates with you, open up to your spiritual gifts. That's why we're here. That is a perfect card. That should be our
Perfect
card.
card.
That's our show significator.
Right? That's a really good idea. We'll have to do a reading for the show using that as a significator. I love
That
that plan.
okay. All right.
I love that plan. So maybe we'll start integrating that a little bit into, what do we talk about?
Okay. Yeah, that can
Using,
actually help kind of
using the
guide the
deck.
direction of the show rather than you and me trying to figure it out. Let's just ask, why don't we ask Spirit what we should talk about?
Hmm.
Who'd have thought?
Right? There you go. Or we can ask our guides, teachers, and angels, because
Absolutely.
So spirit, that is one thing that doesn't resonate with me.
Okay.
Isn't
Oh,
that funny?
okay. Yes.
But
Okay.
it's okay for you to say it because it resonates with you.
Right. But I think that
That's the whole point of this, right?
we're talking about the same thing though, right?
We
It's just,
are. We
it's a
are.
label.
I just feel like um the use of that word spirit, how do I put it?
Well,
It
it doesn't mean the same thing to everybody.
it
And it's,
doesn't, but I think that I've seen a lot of people and the way they use it, I feel like they give spirit a lot of power. And I don't
yeah, I
I
see what
think
you're
that
saying.
and what I'm saying by that, what I mean by that, and I don't feel like that's your thing, but I feel like a lot of people not just give it a lot of power, but hand their power to
I
spirit.
know exactly where you're going with that.
Right?
And that's
Right?
a good point, right? You're just replacing one, deity with another, and that's not how it's worked. It doesn't work that way.
No, right, right. So like, what does spirit want me to know? I don't like that question. Like, what? To me, that's different than guides, teachers, and angels. And if what you reference as spirit is you mean by guides, teachers, and angels,
Yep.
great. But I just feel like there's a lot of people out there that give their power away to an unseen being when
Hmm.
they should retain their own physical empowerment and use that to anchor themselves to the earth so that they can create a bridge for themselves from their physical self to their etheric self in a way that creates a beautiful and aligned life. Does that make
True
sense?
that. Yes, that is spot on. I love that.
So anyway, that I really try hard not to let those little things niggle at me because that's a whole other conversation, right? First of all, whole nother, that's not a word to me. Like that is unacceptable to me.
Right.
Like we'll shut down right away if anybody says that on the
How about
show. Like we're
like
out.
irregardless?
Oh yeah, oh my gosh. Um, oh no, I lost my train of thought.
Sorry, I did that. I did
No,
that.
no, you didn't. I did it. That's what happens because you never know what or who I'm connected to, and if I shut it down, it doesn't come back. That was another conversation though that I thought could be interesting. That's what happens. We'll just have to rely on the cards.
Absolutely.
Anyway, look at this. Wow, another hour.
And it just flies by. It
It
just
just
flies
does.
by.
It's so
Yeah.
fun. I mean, I'm so grateful. I so appreciate you for being willing to do this with me.
Thank you.
Um,
I'm honored. I'm truly, truly honored.
I mean, we're the light workers, right? We're not
Right.
the only light workers, but we're the light workers, and that's what this is about. Some people watching may know that I had a show in the past with Michael, and that was amazing, and I loved it so much that I just couldn't, when it couldn't happen anymore, because life changes.
Hmm.
Um, it was the one thing that was like a carrot in front of me all this time. I want to put my
Yeah, let's get back to that.
um, I want to put it back together. I want to put it back together. I want to get back to the chat show. I miss the talk show. So I'm really, really grateful that you're willing to do this with me.
Likewise.
And I am so grateful for your input. Like the subjects that you come up are in all my blind spots.
Oh, cool. Good. Good. So we're gonna have a good mix.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that's the whole idea. So with that said, that's our hour. Thank you all so much for joining us. Don't forget to check out woobook.com to check out John's book. And
Thank
don't
you.
forget to go to the Facebook page, Lasting Serenity. Click on the events tab and see the new things coming up. You still have time to sign up for the train ride, with himself, the conductor, Matthew.
Cool.
It's going to be really good. So, anyway, that's it. Have a wonderful evening. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll see you next
See you
week.
in a week. Yep.